Let's talk about a boy who wasn't raised to be a person. He was conditioned, trained, and deployed as a living weapon. This is his story, the long, hard road he took to figure out how to be human.
So when we first meet our protagonist, hero Yuuy, he doesn't say hello, he doesn't give a name, he just gives this single, cold directive. And you gotta understand, this isn't just a line for him, it's his entire identity, it's all he is. And that's why this isn't just another war story. Not at all. It's really a deep dive into identity, into free will, and what it actually means to build a self from scratch when you were never supposed to have one in the first place.
Okay, to really get his journey, we have to understand his starting point. And at the beginning, he's basically a tool, an object. His entire existence is defined by one thing and one thing only, his function.
I mean, just think about what's been stripped away from him. He doesn't hesitate, he shows zero emotion, no fear, he doesn't connect with anyone, and most importantly, he has no concept of a self outside of his orders. He's the perfect child soldier, a ghost in a machine.
You know, there's a big philosophical word for this, instrumentalization. It basically means you're not seen as a person who matters in your own right. Nope, you're an instrument, a tool, a way to get something done. That's it.
And here's the really chilling part. This is how he sees himself. Hero is completely willing, heck, he's almost eager to self-destruct if it'll help the mission. His life is totally expendable, because in his mind, it only has utility. It has no inherent worth. So what on earth could possibly change someone who's been conditioned that deeply? Well, the catalyst shows up, and it's a person who represents the absolute total opposite of everything he is, Relina Peacecraft. And this contrast just lays the whole conflict bare. Hero's world? It's war, missions, and utility. Relina's world? It's peace, compassion, and the belief that every single life has value. Her ideas don't just clash with his, they completely invalidate the foundation of his entire existence.
And this is the existential crisis she triggers in him. Because if a world without war is even possible, then what's a weapon for? What's he for? All of a sudden, his purpose, his whole reason to be, is just gone.
Which leaves us with this huge, central question, right? Can someone who has only ever known how to destroy learn to do anything else? Can you even make a choice when you've been programmed not to have one?
Now, this change doesn't happen overnight with some big revelation. It starts with these small, almost invisible cracks in his conditioning, and it's in those moments that we see the very first flicker of his own free will. So here's the telltale sign. For the first time, Hero hesitates. He starts to question his orders, not by talking back, but just with his actions. He's not just a machine reacting anymore. He's starting to act on his own. So now he's stuck in this impossible space between two opposing ideas. He can't fully buy into Relina's absolute idealism because the world he sees is just constant, brutal conflict. But at the same time, he can't go back to being a mindless weapon either. That doesn't work for him anymore. This internal tug-of-war is what pushes him into the next major stage of his evolution. This is his journey from being an object with a purpose to becoming a person with an identity. He's slowly starting to move toward a humanist point of view. He's beginning to recognize that individual life, and yeah, even his own, has value just for existing. And for him, that is a truly radical shift. You can really see his whole internal journey right here. He goes from an assigned identity, he's a tool with orders, to a questioning identity, filled with hesitation and doubt. And finally, he arrives at a chosen identity, where he's a person acting with his own intention.
This right here, this is the critical distinction. He still fights, he still pilots this massive war machine, but the whole dynamic has flipped. The weapon doesn't define him anymore. Now he's a person who chooses how, when, and why to use that weapon. What's so compelling about his journey is how quiet it is. His transformation isn't some big, loud declaration. He doesn't give a speech. It's all shown through the small choices he makes moment to moment.
Yeah, his new humanity is all show, don't tell. You see it in his restraint when he decides not to fire. You see it when he starts protecting people instead of just destroying targets. He proves he's changed by refusing to cause harm when it's not necessary.
So, what's the big takeaway from all this? It's a pretty powerful idea, really. That our past, even a past completely defined by violence and conditioning, doesn't have to be our destiny. At the end of the day, his entire journey boils down to this one profound thought. The identity you're given isn't the one you have to keep. And the purpose you were created for, that doesn't have to be the one you choose.
And that leaves us with the question that started this whole thing. If every single part of you was forged for destruction, could you actually overcome that programming? Could you find a way to become something more? It's a heavy question, and Hiro's story, it gives us his answer.